Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Authentic Podcast with Justin Doulard. And thank you for tuning in to another episode. It's time!
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Authentic Podcast. We have another repeat guest, a recently retired undefeated fighter out of the UFC, Mr. Jimmy Flick. So last time we had Jimmy on, he was fresh off winning a contract on Dana White's Contender Series, and now things have changed a little bit. I think Jimmy had a change of heart that he's going to kind of talk about with us, and sometimes considered an unfortunate story, but in my opinion, I think it's something to be proud of, and very unorthodox for most fighters to kind of come out and talk about the things he did. So, Jimmy, before you dive in, man, I just wanted to say I was super proud of you, and I watched most of your stuff with all the big time guys like Ariel and other people, and it definitely made me kind of emotional, man. I saw the passion there, and it's just not something I had really seen before from a fighter outside of a big win or a big loss. So.
Yeah, man, a lot comes with this sport, man, and I've been at it for over 12 years. Started training in 2008, started fighting in 2009 as an amateur. And then as my career progressed, I got a family, I got kids now. I miss stuff all the time. I'm always gone working and training, and then I missed a lot of time with my family. And starting off in the sport, me and my dad started, me and him went into the gym, and that's how we both got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I wrestled my whole life, but we did Jiu-Jitsu together, and then my brother got involved, and then me and my brother started fighting together, and we both won belts together, and that's all we did. We slept, we trained, that's all we did. And then we started getting families, and then we had different paths, and then my brother and my dad got back on doing drugs and on that bad path again, and it pulled us apart, and I kept pursuing my dreams. My dream was always to make that UFC walk. That was my main dream. It was never the UFC gold. It wasn't to prove I was the best in the world. I wanted to prove I was one of the best, and I wanted to make that UFC walk. And after I made that UFC walk and got the UFC win, and you get all the fans, you get all the support, you see what comes with it, and I was getting ready for the biggest fight of my life, to fight the champ's brother, and I just couldn't get excited no more. And had a talk with my father, and after I had a talk with my father, after not really talking a lot at all, it just let me know that I'd been fighting for all the wrong reasons. And I was trying to fight to get my dad back, and I wasn't fighting for myself anymore, for the love of the sport, or for my girls, or for my wife. And I realized that I didn't want to fight no more. I was done, and it shocked a lot of people. It shocked my wife. Like people don't know, like my wife was caught 100% off guard, and I left the gym one day, and I called her, and I was crying. She was like, just come home, and I was like, no, I'm going to work, and that's what I want to do. I want to go to work, and I don't want to fight no more. Like I'm done training. I'm done doing all that. I don't want to run no more. I don't want to have to do any of that stuff no more. I'm tired of missing time with the girls. I'm tired of her schedule being worked around my schedule. And I just realized it's not what I want to do no more. I was fighting for all the wrong reasons. And it's been a couple months now, and everybody keeps asking me, do you got the urge to fight? Not at all, man. I enjoy watching fights. I still will do that, hanging out with my friends. But my 9-year-old's joining cheerleading. My 4-year-old, she's a little girl, and she's going to join wrestling. She wants to wrestle this year. So now I know I can be there. I don't have to worry about the UFC calling me. I don't have to worry about training and working and training and missing all that time. So there's no regrets. And as of right now, I don't see myself coming back anytime soon. It's a lot of questions people keep asking. So far, I'm just enjoying life and writing my book, and it should come out in September, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I definitely wanted you to talk about that a little more. So you've been writing the book. and supposed to come out in September, right? So tell me a little bit about the process of writing a book. I mean, were you kind of a writer before? Is this something new to you that you just kind of wanted to do once you felt the inclination to do so, or?
Well, when I actually say write a book, like, I mean, I am writing and I'm putting stuff down, but I'm not the one actually writing the book. I mean, I have a ghostwriter, and I tell him my story. I give him my notes and break everything down. It starts from when I was 6 years old. When I was 6 years old, that was when my parents got busted. I had 2 older brothers, 2 older sisters, and we got busted. The cops come into our house, raided us, and there's a lot more to that story that will go into my book. And then it just kind of tells you how I kept progressing and trying to chase sports and what dreams I had and what kind of happened in my life and the way I grew up with. A lot of times we didn't have electric, so our house would run off of a generator. We didn't have hot water, so to take a warm bath, we had to heat up water in the microwave. And the bowls ain't very big, so you can get the bowl that can fit in there, and you heat it up, get it boiling. You pour it in the tub. You do it again. You do that twice, and you might have a warm bath instead of a cold shower. So we had it pretty tough growing up, and I even had a younger sister that was adopted before she was even born because we couldn't afford another kid. My parents couldn't. My mom was 14 when she had my oldest brother. She was 22 when she had my little sister. So within 6-7 years, he had 6 kids, and my dad worked, but they didn't bring enough money, and then they got into drugs and started selling drugs, and my dad got busted, went to prison, and then my mom tried to take care of us. We lived with my grandma a lot. We didn't live a good life, man, but I never gave up on my goals of trying to push something. And I had some bad runs in my life in high school, started smoking cigarettes, started smoking weed, partying a lot. So I want to put that in my book. And then when I straight up, when I pursued goals with my wife, how we met and everything went, and then what went through my wins and my losses on fighting with what actually happened with my father throughout there. Had an incident with my brother. I'm trying to get it cleared to where I can tell 100% truth to what happened, but without his consent, I can't tell the truth. So hopefully I'll be able to get the true story out there, because can't really just throw him under the bus, because, some bad stuff happened, and it's still a dramatic part in my life, but it's also a dramatic part in his life. And, without getting it cleared and getting his okay to put everything in the book, I would have to kind of go around it, So a lot of dramatic stuff has happened in our life, not only with my brother, with me, with my sisters. And I talk to one of my sisters now, my other sister not so much. My oldest brother, he's just, and that's what I tell people without really breaking it down. But he dealt with the most, as seeing the drugs and everything pan out in our life. And it kind of, it made me the man who I am today. And that's why I made the decision I did to retire. And it'll all be in the book, and hopefully it'll work. And my publisher, he's published over 1,000 books, and he even has a #1 seller. His name's Peter Lopez. And we'll be finalizing our contract and having that announcement. And then the book's going to be called The Brick, and then it'll have a little catch thing under it, breaking down brick walls, and just, and that's where my writer comes in, and we come up with a better name and the picture and the cover, and then we'll start booking to do signings and book releases. And I don't know, I'm excited. It's a different journey, and I think it might open more doors. I've had fighters reach out to me, a UFC fighter. He is retired, and he retired multiple times. And he said that hearing my story on Ariel Helwani actually really opened his eyes up to why he kept fighting. And he retired 4 times, and he didn't know why he kept wanting to come back. And he said the same thing. He was fighting for all the wrong reasons. And my story really changed his mindset on, he thought he was going to come back again. He's 42 years old. So, and he was like, your story really helped me. So, and that's one of many people that have reached out to me already. So that's what I'm trying to also motivate kids that live in a little town like me that don't think they have an opportunity to make it big, especially if they live a bad life.
Yeah, man. It seems like after this book comes out, it could kind of blow up, and you could maybe do like some public speaking or some consulting or some sort. Whether you did it for free or or for a side job, man. It sounds like you could really delve into that because you've got all the tools, and you're well on your way. So
Yeah, that's what we did too. I already went and spoke with one football camp. A buddy of mine brought me out to kind of tell them, told them, what my goals were in 2020, how I accomplished them. And then now I'm moving on to new goals, like writing a book, spending more time with my family, and so on and so on, and that's exactly, I want to be a motivational speaker. And if I have a book that sells, that's good, people love, then it's just going to open up more doors, and then we'll see what happens.
yeah, man. So like you said, you're about 2 months out of retirement. So what has that been like for you? I mean, is that a big, big relief off your shoulders? And, I assume you probably took a break from training, kind of got to eat what you want, visit with the girls, and how's that going?
Oh man, it's going great. I've been working a lot, busy. Pandemic's finally coming to an end, and we're getting busy again. And it's been great. I've been spending a lot of time with the family after work. I get to come home. I've only done jiu-jitsu one time, and that was with a buddy that was going out of town. And then I did a 5K for a charity event that one of my sponsors signed me up for. And as I was coming around the corner for the last 100 yards, I ain't done nothing, man. I'm coming around the last 100 yards, and I start throwing up. I would have 5K is 3.1 miles. I would have finished it 24 minutes off the couch, but I started throwing up, and it took me another 2 minutes before I finished, but I still finished in 26 minutes. So it wasn't bad, but I don't have the urge to have to push myself to the limit that I usually do. And even with that run, I'm competitive, so
Sure.
I and more than I had to or even should have, and caused myself to throw up. But that's just who I am. I'm competitive, but I'll do little things like that. I do want to compete in jiu-jitsu again. I'm pretty sure that my UFC contract, I should be all right to go do jiu-jitsu. I obviously know I can't go fight nowhere else. If I ever wanted to fight again, I just contact the UFC, and they have the option for me to finish my contract, or they can cut me at that point if they don't want to deal with me, and that's how it works when you retire from the UFC. You can't just retire and they messaged me and asked me if I wanted to do bare knuckle, some little bare knuckle management company. And I was like, no, I don't want to do bare knuckle. That's not what this was. That's, y'all are misunderstanding the point of why I retired and everything like that. But so I have a lot of huge opportunities to happen here, and I just don't see it happening with fighting right now.
Yeah. And I think a good point you made is a lot of people keep asking you, are you going to get the itch back? Would you ever come back? And I think a lot of people forget that, you've been fighting for a decade before you got to the UFC. So while it wasn't the UFC, you were doing the same thing. You were probably training just as hard, if not harder, to get to that UFC level for a decade. So, kind of like you said, you kind of hit your goal and made that walk. That was kind of the ultimate goal. So then it may have been a little easier for you because, you weren't that underdog anymore, so to speak.
Yeah, man, and I fought so many big names like Johnny Bedford, Levi Moles, Chris Gutierrez, and and every time I lost, I came back and I won. And I've never lost 2 fights in a row. I finished my career at 16-5 as a professional, 7-0 as an amateur, 0-2 as a pro boxer, 0-1 as a Muay Thai fighter, and 1-2 as a professional kickboxer. So I've done it all, and I've even done pro grappling. And now I might have an opportunity to do that, like I was saying with Shug and stuff like that. That would be cool, I've always wanted to grapple Shinny Aoki. That would be my dream grappling match. And I'm sure I could still go grapple and compete, and that's not going to break me down like fighting did. It's mixed martial arts, so you got to train mixed martial arts. You got to do your cardio, you got to run, you got to eat healthy, you got to do your kickboxing, you got to do your boxing, you got to do your MMA, you got to do your jiu-jitsu. It's mixed martial arts. Well, you do jiu-jitsu and you can focus more on jiu-jitsu, and I wouldn't cut as much weight. I'd probably compete at 145 instead of 125, and like I said, I would still have to eat right and everything, and I would still probably have to cut from 155 to 145, but 10 pounds ain't nothing compared to the 35 pounds I'm used to cutting in a month. So I might do some jiu-jitsu for sure. I'm interested in that, but not right now. Like, I'm going to probably enjoy probably a whole year off and just enjoy life and see what happens.
Yeah, that's another topic I wanted to speak about is, so I can't remember the guy's name you fought, but you go to fight him and he gets pink eye, right? The fight's scratched. And then you go back and talk about how you had one bad meal and then you were like, I'm back in it. You like, I ate one bad thing and then I was cutting weight. But you had said you had jumped already I want to say 18 to 20 pounds in that short span of time. So you're weighing about 155 on a normal basis?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. After I fought, like, for example, I fought for the LFA 125 title. We had to weigh in at 125. 9 days later is when I got the call to fight on the Tuesday Night Contender. I was 162 pounds when I got that phone call. Whoa. So it's 9 days after my LFA title fight that I had put on, 37 pounds.
And you lost it in 8 days? 7 days?
No, I had a 4-week camp, so
okay.
It was, and then and I've done that multiple times. I fought on 2 weeks' notice for LFA, and I actually fought at 125, and then they called me 2 weeks, or no, it was like a week after my fight. They called me to fight on 2 weeks' notice against CJ Hamilton. Well, I was 154 when they called me, so within a week after that fight, I had already went from 125 to 150. But as my career progressed, I started getting bigger after fights, bigger and bigger. And it's because I diet so well. And I'm a very, very picky eater. And people's like, what's picky? I don't eat salad. I hardly eat any vegetables. I only eat corn and green beans. I don't even know. All right. So I don't like freaking lettuce. I don't I did start eating spinach finally. But most of the time I had to put it in my smoothies, and I made a lot of smoothies. And I didn't take supplements and stuff like that. And all I did was smoke medical marijuana, man. And that's all I've ever done. And I got fined in Texas and suspended for Texas for testing positive for marijuana. And then in the UFC, I could test positive for marijuana, but not when I fight. So you can test positive anytime, but not when you fight. Well, to not test positive for marijuana when you have a fight, you to quit out, if you want to be for sure. I did. I quit 30 days out, and it sucked because I don't like supplements. I don't take supplements. I've never liked the way it feels and the way my body feels. That's all I like to do. And there's just so many guidelines you got to go by and to be a UFC fighter. And I did it all for long enough. I'm good with it.
I know you said in previous interviews that you don't really have any bad blood with UFC. This was really not a lot to do with them. But I think we both know that there's things that, the organization could improve on. And I think one of those might be something that I think ONE FC does across, overseas, and they do hydration checks before the fights. Have you heard of that? You think that's something that, the UFC should adapt and could be beneficial?
Yes, and I also think, I could be wrong, but from the understanding, their bantamweight is actually 135 to 145, and their flyweight is 135 to 135. So they can actually, it's different. Our flyweight's 125, but theirs is 135 because of that hydration test, Mm-hmm. So from my understanding, they actually fight at 35 if they're a flyweight. But how it worked, it would be better, I think, because I cut a lot of weight, but I fought Chris Gutierrez at 135, dude. That dude was huge, dude. And then same thing with Johnny Bedford, man. Them guys are huge, and I look like a freaking toothpick. And then I fight at 125, and I'm still not bigger than these guys, and I cut a lot of weight, And like they say, Figueroa, he gets up to 165, and it's going to be tough to keep making them weight cuts. You're going to tear up your body. And like you said, the UFC don't have nothing for us after. What happens if you fuck up your liver? Well, the UFC will help you medically to get that taken care of. But in 15 years, when you're not on the UFC roster no more, or even 5 years from some fighters, they don't take care of you no more, And like, I even had a fighter reach out to me, and he was like, "Are you really retiring because they don't have 401k? We're not even going to have 401k in 20 years." I'm like, well, first off, nobody knows that for sure.
Right.
Right. And second off, if I do have a 401k and they cancel 401ks, I get what I put into that 401k, So I'll get what I put in no matter whenever they cancel that shit, dude. So to fall back, And I was like, but that's not why I retired, I was like, there's reasons to it. But now the UFC is talking about finding medicals and finding ways for fighters to have fallbacks. But unless they unionize and do something like that, it's going to be super hard for us to do it, And if they do, maybe, I'm 30. So within a couple of years, if they do it and my contract's still on the table, maybe, if I feel the need to. But actually right now, I've been at my job for 5 years, and I'm already looking at a different career. I've been at my job for 5 years, and I feel like I've reached the top at my current job. And now I'm looking at different opportunities to maybe find something that would be benefit my family, like 100% benefits and a Roth or whatever, IR Roth or whatever they
Roth
call it.
IRA, yep.
There you go. Yeah. So I got a company right now that had actually already reached out to me and offered me that. And I'll take a little pay cut, but in the long run, it would be better for my family, my kids and stuff. So, and then, like I said, I got my book, and I'm hoping to sell out places and go and talk. Man, I mean, I want to do some commentary. That's something I really love to do, do some commentary for fights and stuff like Joe Rogan. I go on podcasts all the time. My best friends have a podcast called The Corner and the Casual, and that's why they were always able to link the news, like that's how they linked the news for my little Figgy fight, was because they're my best friends, and The Corner and the Casual, the corner, well, that was in my corner. That's how they came up with that. And then your casual fan. So and they kind of got a little butt hurt when I retired too, because they kind of, hurt them a little bit, but I go on their podcast a lot. So I'm trying to push their podcast with them too. And so that's why I, try to get my story out to multiple podcasts, multiple people, and I think it's going to help with my book. And then I got the UFC trading card now, so I've been signing those and selling those to people because I don't get no money from them, and everybody's like thinks they're free, and I'm like, no, I don't get them for free. I'm buying them from people myself and sign them and try to make a little money for signing them for people and doing stuff like that, man. So.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff. I think you have a lot of potential with that. I mean, your head's in the right place, and you're gonna grow and do great things. So I'll be looking forward to it, man. I had seen a tweet or an Instagram post the other day, and kind of made me think about it. It was a gentleman, I probably mispronounced his name, named Brian Keller. But he talks about, any YouTubers out there, I don't care about weight class. I just want to retire without having to apply at Walmart when I'm done. So
100%, dude. And he's not the only one. And then so I guess Tim Elliott took offense to one of my videos because I didn't mean so I said fighters are too dumb to unionize, right? When I said that, I don't mean all right, current fighters or anything like that. What I mean, though, is you got your average Joe that's trying to be a fighter, right? And he's been fighting on his local market, and we usually make no more than $2,000 to show, $2,000 to win. That's the most I ever made local. It's usually 1,000 and 1,000. Then you sell tickets, you get more money, right? So if that average Joe right there has a fucking 8-4 record, or 8-2, and we want to go on strike over here, and they're like, oh yeah, and they're just going to offer him 10-10. Well, hell yeah, I've never made 10-10. I'll do that. And that's how it works, and that's what I mean. There's always that stupid fighter in the back, hey, I'll do it. I don't care about none of them, And that's why I mean fighters are too stupid to unionize. I don't actually mean the fighters in the UFC, because I understand that y'all can't just team up together and be like, hey, let's stop fighting and we got this. No, because the stupid fighters I'm talking about are the ones that are going to screw y'all. Look at Mark Hunt, dude. one of the top fighters in the heavyweight division, got screwed over in the Brock Lesnar fight because Brock tested positive, dude. And then he ended up getting sued by the UFC, trying to sue the UFC because he got screwed. Because the UFC's fine print is way better than our fine print, you know?
Oh, yeah,
so
of course.
They got that stuff down to the T. Like I said, when I retired, you don't just, they still own me, all right? You know, I ain't going nowhere else unless I talk with the UFC first. So they know what they're doing, and they've been doing it for a long time, and that's why they sold for $1 billion or more than $1 billion, whatever they sold for, you know? And now they got people wanting stock. It's a gimmick, you know, and I don't have to be a part of it no more. I have a better opportunity to write my book, to get this other job, and have a fallback guaranteed. Like I said, I own land. I own my house. I want to build a house, and I plan on building that house with a 401k, you know, not trying to rely on getting a $50,000 bonus. Well, it's actually kind of fucked up. It's $75,000 now. So,
oh, yeah, thanks, Tony Ferguson.
Ferguson got it to $75,000. So, but anyway, that right there, and the Venom gear, and everybody and they're like, they got the Venom gear. Does that make you want to come back? They got fans now. Does that make you want to come? And no, y'all. I want the urge to want to fight again, want to train again. You know, like the Diaz, and then they say, you know, you got to hate it to love it. You know, and I did. I used to hate it so bad I loved it. Now I've lost it. You know, and I'm not fighting for money. So I'm not going to go in there and just try to get a paycheck. That's just not who I am. And I told myself, if I ever thought I was going to fight for money, I would retire. If I ever missed weight, I told myself I would retire. And I never missed weight, and I don't have the urge to fight no more.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with it's kind of a vicious cycle with these young guys who, like you said, you know, if they're offering you, you know, 30 and 30, and you know, a group of you guys say no, and then they offer another guy 20 and 20, and he takes it, I mean, you automatically lose. And it's a global sport. And so there's going to be a lot of bodies who are ready to step in because, you know, he's making $10 an hour at his day job. So 20 and 20 to him is, you know, life-changing. So
that's a year's salary. Yeah, it's a year's salary, man. And I made over a year's salary in my first UFC fight. But the thing I went through, like you said, with the pink eye thing, like I showed up, we make weight and everything. I miss work, all that stuff, man. And then I find out 20 minutes before I'm getting on the bus to go to the venue that this guy has pink eye and my fight's canceled. And then I'm like, well, what happened? Like, my first thing is I get paid. Like, I showed up to win the fight to get my 20,000. It's 10 to show, 10 to win. Well, then they're like, well, you'll get your 10,000 to show, but do you want to fight in 2 weeks? Well, that's actually less than 2 weeks because it's Saturday, and it's so yeah, it was 2 weeks. So we had 2 weeks to turn around, but you have 8 days to turn around before you're gonna have to fly back to the UFC to get ready because you have to quarantine and do all that. So that night, I went and hit mitts. I was like, let's go hit mitts. I hit mitts with my coach, and we hadn't even said 100% that we were going to fight in 2 weeks, and the UFC announced it.
Really?
During fights that they didn't announce the reason. They just said it was being rescheduled and that me and Cody would be fighting in 2 weeks. And it wasn't even 100% agreed to. It was just offered to us. And then, like I said, so that night I was supposed to eat pizza. I had beer in the fridge, dude. And like I said, I didn't smoke no medical marijuana. So it's legal in Las Vegas. So I went and bought some. And it's expensive up there, dude. And I had to sit in there waiting. Well, when I didn't fight, knew I was going to fight in 2 weeks, I fucking threw that shit away, dude. I can't take it with me, dude.
Yep.
So fucking threw that away. I threw the beer away, threw the pizza away. I worked out that night. That night, I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to ask the UFC if I could just run around the facility because there's cops and security guards there because of COVID, and you can't leave and come back and all that shit, dude. And I got stopped by security twice because they were like, why are you running? I was like, because I can't sleep, dude. So I'm running, dude. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I just want to run. And then we got on the plane at 6. I flew home, had a good meal with my wife. That Monday morning, I woke up. I was 148 pounds. I weighed in at 125 fucking 3 days before that. So I was up 22 pounds, and the weight cut was back. And then I had to go right back at it. And we did it, man. And we showed up, we made weight, and I did everything told him I was going to do. I told him I was going to finish Cody Durden, and that's what I do. And we still got him talking shit on Twitter. I don't know if you've seen him on Twitter talking shit the other day, but you should have seen it. It was hilarious. It backfired on him, I'll tell you that much. I asked him if he wanted to sign UFC card, but I guess not.
he's probably trying to draw you out for that rematch, man. Probably trying to get you riled up and bring you back out.
Yeah, and he tried to call out another fighter, Jeff Molina, and it was cool to call out Jeff, but he added me into it, saying I got lucky and all this stuff. And I just asked him, I was like, dude, do you want a signed UFC card? I was like, just let me, dude. And then he started talking more mess, and then I told him, I was like, you better get a win or you're gonna lose your job. You're 0-1-1, dude. Like, they don't keep 0-1-1 people in the UFC. You know, you better get some wins, dude. Like, if you want to keep your job. Like, I was like, I obviously don't want it. So if you want to keep it, you got to win, you know. So, but he kept my name relevant, you know, keeps bringing my name up, and just it helps keep it out there for when it comes out.
You just need to hit him back up and say, hey, buddy, you know, I left on my own terms, but you might get fired, so you can come apply at the plastic plant with me if you want. You know what I'm saying?
Right. We might have a job opening here soon.
You pulled the Ultimate Connor there, offering him the autographed card, dude. That's funny.
Yeah, I did, man. Dude. And then he said some other stuff too, dude. And he was like, I'm not going to regret my decision or nothing. I was like, I'm not going to regret mine either. I was like, and like, I get to spend more time with my kids. And like, so, I mean, I know what I'm doing. And, you know, I reached my goals, and I got some other goals, and I want to reach those goals. And I'm 100% confident that I can reach those goals. And like I said, I've talked about it too, about my wife's business. And we've been on hold with that again. We had to move it. We had some stuff happen, but last week I got back on it. So hopefully in a couple of weeks, I'm hoping to have that up for her, and I'll have more time to, you know, commit to that. And the kids are going to go to school and start sports and all that. So I'm going to be a regular dad.
Yeah, man, it's pretty exciting. I'm a newborn dad, so or a new father as well, so pretty pumped for that. So.
And it's great. Man.
Thanks,
boy
man.
or girl?
He's a 4-month-old boy, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ain't got no boys, man. We thought about it, and then I was supposed to get snipped, and I got scared, and I didn't do it.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. That kind of scares me too. It's just weird. I don't know. I don't want, you know, I don't want to change my body unless I have to. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, yeah, that's what I told my wife. I was like, me and you, we've been together 10 years, and what happens if it don't work no more? I mean, you're supposed to be with me. What happens if it breaks, dude? And then, like, you're not supposed to go without me. I was like, I can't do that to you, and I don't want to do that to me. Like, I just, like, and so, I mean, so I guess it's still possible I could, but we got all precautions to try not to have kids anymore. So, besides getting snipped.
Yeah, man. So no boys, huh?
No boys, dude. My little girl, she wants to wrestle, so we're gonna throw her in wrestling. She's 4 years old. Me junior, my butthole baby. Looks like she came right out of my butthole. So I got to a boy, you know.
Oh, that's funny. Well, maybe by the time she's, you know, age appropriate, the sport will have developed and grown, and maybe you know, a little more fighter friendly. Maybe she'll want to get into it or something. Kind of like what's his name? Someone's daughter. I can't think of his name right now. He just did a boxing match. His daughter's a UFC fighter, Frank Mir.
Oh yeah. Well, she's been doing MMA. Yeah, she's been fighting. She's got a couple fighting. She's young. She's only like 17.
Yeah,
I think she fought 16 her first fight, 16 or 17, and she's got really good jiu-jitsu, obviously because of her dad. My 9-year-old did Muay Thai for a little bit, and she didn't really want to do jiu-jitsu, and then she kind of got wore out from Muay Thai. But so now we're going to cheerleading, but. The 4-year-old wants to wrestle, and wrestling is huge in Oklahoma, and girl wrestling is really huge. They offer up a lot of scholarships now for girl wrestling, and there's a lot of opportunities. So if she wants to do it, and awesome. We fight at home all the time. That's what she calls it, you know. So we play at home and do that all the time. So we'll see where it goes, and if they want to, awesome. If not, I'm not too key on it, you know. I'm pushing them to make them do it, you know.
Yeah.
I wrestled my whole life, and my dad pushed me to wrestle, and then I got wore out in high school, and that's why I started smoking cigarettes and, you know, smoking weed and doing all the bad shit in high school. Is because I did it my whole life. So.
Well, you know, DC is a big fan of yours. So after that flying triangle, so maybe you need to tap into him with that OSU connection right there. Get her a scholarship.
Yeah, I haven't heard nothing back from him about my retirement. I talked with Ariel, so I mean, I imagine he would have seen me in Ariel's video, but You know, I mean, I'm just, some guy from Oklahoma. I mean, I didn't make it as big as I think I mean, I could have made it bigger, obviously. I think so. But like I said, like my kids ask a lot of questions too. I still get a lot of people come up and talk to us, and we be eating dinner or going somewhere. Most of the time I don't know the people, and they're like, who's that? And why are they doing this? Or taking pictures, and I mean, and I love it and I still enjoy it, but it could have got worse. If I keep fighting, keep doing more, I'm only going to get more and more and more of that. And that's another thing that I realized, like I don't want to be Conor McGregor famous, and like never saying I was going to be Conor McGregor famous, because I got that message too. Nobody said you were going to be the Chris Johnson. I was just saying that as some people do, y'all, and that's just not what I found out to come. Not what I wanted, so that's why I was using it to explain my situation. And so, but
I love all the misinterpretations you get. And you're like, you idiots! That's not what I mean. I'm just making a point that that's sometimes it's has its pros and cons too. So, yeah, I remember when
and that's what.
Oh, you go ahead. I was gonna say, I remember, you talking about
just saying that's why I talked away.
Being on the, I remember you being on the.
That's why though I talked that way.
Oh yeah, I remember you being on the the local scene, at River Spirit and LFA and all that, and because my wife and I used to go to those fights quite a bit, and then we're watching the Contender Series and paying attention off and on, watching it and playing on our phones and stuff. But then I just recognize the names like Flick, and I was like, okay, I couldn't pick him out of a crowd, but I recognize that name. That's it's a unique one. And then I was like, I swear we've seen this kid fight or this guy fight. And then naturally it's like Sand Springs, and I was like, there he is. I was like, I knew we've seen that guy. That name is unique, and it was pretty cool. And like I said, that was we had just moved into our house, and we were watching the Contender Series on our laptop, just bored as hell because we didn't have a lot to do, hadn't unpacked yet. So that's when we've because I moved out of Oklahoma about 3 or 4 years ago. So prior to then, I hadn't really seen any LFA events. So
yeah, but, man, I've got so many friends. LFA, I got a guy from Cyprus. Like, it's another, I don't even know what country that's in. I don't even know. That guy messages me all the time. I sent a UFC signed card to the United Kingdom to Alex over there, that just all from LFA, and then Tuesday Night Contender. And the Tuesday Night Contender is actually how my publisher reached out to me and the book thing started. Like, I always wanted to, tell my story, but he said once he heard my story on the Tuesday Night Contender, that's why he reached out to me. And that's how the whole book process got started.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. I love to read. I love biographies. I've read a lot of UFC biographies, Cody Garbrandt, Uriah Fabers. Love those guys at Alpha Male. But I can't wait to get it. And I definitely want an autographed copy, whether I got to pay for it or catch you in person. But I appreciate your time, man. And I'll let you close out some words, and we'll let you go, and look forward to following the journey. Yeah,
man. Hey, I really appreciate it. And yeah, publisher and everything, we're going to have it set up where we'll have a pre-sale order, and everybody that pre-sales it, I will personally sign it and ship it to them. We'll have a book signing that people can show up to the book signing and to get the book signed, take pictures and all that. We're hoping to release the book in September. So if you want more info, just follow me on Facebook at Jimmy the Brick Flick. It's my actual fan page, because my personal page, Jimmy Flick, I have too many friends. It's maxed out. So I can't okay nobody. So I'm trying to send everybody. I have like 1,000 friend requests that I cannot okay. When you try to okay, it tells you you're at your max. So,
yep.
And then, so I try to send everybody over to my fan page. You can also just type in www.thebrickmma.com in the search bar on Facebook, and it takes you right to my fan page. And then I also have my Instagram at The Brick MMA, and then I'm on Twitter at Jimmy Flick. So if y'all could follow me on there, I'll be dropping little quotes from my book here soon. I'll also be dropping little info about how to get my book. We're going to have it in Amazon, or going to be on Amazon. It's going to be in Barnes & Noble and every major bookstore possible. And then we'll come out with an audio after me reading the book, telling more story about it, breaking down more stuff, way stuff made me feel, and people just be able to hear the passion of me talking about my book. So if y'all want to follow me, I really appreciate it, and appreciate you bringing me on here, Doc.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on again for the second time, and I'll definitely drop all those links in the podcast description, and of course I'll get it out to you when it's ready. So,
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, man. Have
all
a
right,
good night.
brother. Proud of you. Talk to you soon.